ask you. I was going to ask you on the way home, but
okay,
we're recording now. So
okay.
welcome to Film to Table podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Denise.
And what's the longest you think you've walked when you were a kid? When you would like do stuff like I was.
Okay, I know exactly the answer to this.
Okay, I would guess it's going to be more than mine, and I have to factor in. You have to factor in elevation, right?
Yeah.
Or not elevation. Like grades.
Steepness.
Yeah, steep grades.
Okay.
So when we were little, we used to walk to the mall. That I guess the mall that was near. I guess you could say somewhat near our house, and that was like our summer thing.
Okay.
And we also worked at the mall. That's where the Cinemark Theater was. And we worked, both Jaime and I worked there. And when I initially started working there, I would walk because I was only like 15. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't able to drive yet.
Sure.
And even then, my parents were kind of like, you can walk. Like, we don't have enough money to buy like another car for you to be driving to work.
What, your legs don't work?
Yeah. So it was 1.2 miles to walk to the mall from our house to there. But as a kid, it felt like an eternity. And I was like, oh man, like that's like 30 minutes maybe walking. And this is like in the summers in Texas, right? But in order to go to some of the early like movie, they would have like the early, I guess you could say that they would have the early kid movies where they would show movies like Goonies or other like movies. I think a lot of times they would show animated movies, but every now and then they would have like live action sort of movies as well. And you could get in for, I think, like $1 or $1.50. And so the three of us could go easily for that. But every now and then we would walk home from school to our house. And there's a whole long story there about why, like there was a school that was in our area that we should have gone to, but we didn't end up going there. We went to the school that was down near where my dad worked, like literally next door to where my dad worked.
Okay.
And so that's why we went there. And they didn't want us walking home, so we would have to sit in my dad's truck doing homework until he was ready to get out of work. But we got out of school, I guess, around 3:00, so it was like a 2-hour wait or whatever. But every now and then they would let us walk home. And that walk was 2.4 miles to walk home. And that was like
rough
actually
for a little kid.
That was actually a kind of a treacherous walk because it was like near busy expressways, and you have to cross through the not the Rio Grande, but the Colorado River, which I guess is it's a pretty well known like pathway through like here. It dumps into Mexico, but basically there was like a huge bridge that we had to walk over, and I think that's where I kind of built like a nice healthy fear of walking over bridges, because it was like a really long drop, but also when cars are going over bridges and stuff, like, the bridge kind of like moves a little bit when you're walking.
Right.
And it was a very busy bridge. So, and even though it had like a designated area for like people to walk, like separated, it's not like we were walking on the road or anything, but still, it was somewhat treacherous, I guess. And as a kid, that's like about an hour and a half walk home. Like basically by the time we would get home, my dad was just like getting home from work. But every now and then we'd be like, no, I want to walk home because I just don't want to
sit around.
Yeah, I don't want to just sit in this truck and wait. So I don't know if that gave you enough time to do Google Maps search in yours. But
okay, I can't quite.
I can't
quite, but
más o menos. Like,
no, I actually I legitimately have no sense of like how far it is, other than to tell you as a little kid it felt very far.
Right.
So when we're still living in the Philippines, I grew up in a city called Baguio City. Shout out to 600. That's the zip code. That's the zip code. And before we moved here, we had a house built kind of in the further, I guess you would say, outskirts of the city, where it was a little more secluded, still technically within the city limits, I believe, but pretty far out of the way from the hubbub, in a neighborhood that was pretty, at the time, fairly underdeveloped. Still a lot of open spaces, a lot of fields and things like that. And at the very end of the street, I still remember super vividly, there was, I guess, a failed resort of some kind called, weirdly enough, Acapulco. By the time we had got there, by the time we had built the house and moved in and everything, it was completely abandoned. Nobody was using it. Nobody owned it, but it wasn't shut down entirely either. Like, we walked around in there all the time. There was a pretty large basketball court. We'd shoot hoops. There was nobody there except for like local kids would run around sometimes, but it was fairly deserted. And there was somewhere kind of in the middle of it where we would go down and gather. This totally sounds like I'm from like a tiny village instead of a fairly developed city. But there was a pipe that for some reason somebody had piped in fresh spring water from the mountain. And we would fill up like gallons of water, and that was our little hobby pastime when we were walking around, little kids. My mom would just send us away, like, go play in the park, also take these bottles of water, fill up some jugs of water. It was fresh, clean spring water. It was amazing. It was just like, it was just flowing out of some pipe, and it was free and clear and totally safe to use. And we got go down there and take it anyway. Because it was such an underdeveloped part of the city, there was at one point they decided to, it was mostly kind of, it wasn't dirt road exactly. It was more, I don't know, I would say like asphalt, like very rudimentary kind of public road that got all the way down there. And then at some point while we were living there a few years in, they decided they were going to pave it so that we had nice cement road. Except it's really only like, I'm fairly sure it was like a single lane road. So I can't even remember how we got, like, what happened if one, because it was kind of down a mountain. So I can't remember what would happen if there was one car going up and one car going down. I mean, the whole point, I guess, is that like nobody really, not a whole lot of people had cars anyway, and the mode of public transportation was a jeepney. And those run so like it didn't run in that part of the city. It wasn't super consistent, or it didn't come as often as other parts of the city because it was so far out and nobody really needed it that badly. We had a car. We were like a 1-car household. That's how you kind of made it, because you had a car when in a neighborhood that didn't have a whole lot of cars. But they decided at one point to like pave the section of the road where our house was on, and it went all the way from the bottom of the hill all the way to halfway up, and it took like weeks, if not it felt like forever as a child, because every morning to go to school my dad or my mom would have to park the car at like kind of midway up the hill, and then we had to get up super early, put on our uniform, walk up the hill just to get to our car.
Right.
So then we can go to school. And then coming back home, we were tired from, you're so tired from school. You already had to walk, blah, blah, blah. You were there, because our school hours were long. We were there from like, I think it was like 7:45 in the morning to like 4:45. It was long. It was a beating. So by the end of the day, for as much as you're a kid and you have a bunch of energy, you're almost ready to like pass out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the intention of like, we just want them tired.
Right.
We don't want to deal with them when they get home.
Taking Sally to the park.
Right, to the dog park, yeah. But yeah, by the time we got home, it would be like coming pretty close to nightfall, and we would park at like the midpoint of the hill and have to walk down. And we found little shortcuts. Like there was like a little tiny public school, like little tiny elementary school, or I think it was like a daycare or something that we would cut through. But that, I would say, cumulatively, because that construction felt like it took forever, I felt like that was my longest walk.
Well, it was good to have some uplifting sort of discussion before we talk about the movie we just got home from watching, 2025's The Long Walk, which it's funny because, I mean, we haven't done a podcast in a while. It's been a very busy week for both of us in our own little worlds. And, I wrapped up work a little bit early-ish and wrote up some stuff. Then I think when you you were off today.
Yeah.
But when you got home and you were kind of like settling in a little bit, I was like, why don't we abandon the dogs and like, let's go watch a movie or have food or dinner. Let's just get out of the house. Like I think we both needed a break. Yeah. And it's funny because initially I was like, we should go to IKEA, like as a date night, because we've been wanting to get some stuff for the laundry room. But you were like, no, we should watch a movie, like you said. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's see if we can find something that's not too late. And you mentioned The Long Walk. It was on my list of movies I wanted to watch. And specifically, Alex had told me, he's like, oh, man, wait until you see that. Because I guess he had seen an early screening of it or something. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what I thought based on the trailer.
Okay.
But I was thinking like, yeah, I want to watch it, but I'm also like
eventually.
Eventually, yeah. If it ended up being a streaming watch, I'd probably be okay with that. But yeah, like some of the movies that we wanted to watch, I think they've already played at theaters, whatever. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's watch this one. I do want to see that movie, Him, the Jordan Peele like football movie, even though I think it's getting mixed reviews. But
yeah.
So we ended up watching The Long Walk. I felt from watching trailers, like I feel like they've given away the movie, and in some ways, yes, they kind of did. However, like it is based on a Stephen King story. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a book or a novella.
I believe it was a book. Okay. I haven't read it, and sure. I think honestly he might have written it under his pseudonym.
Oh, okay.
So
that would not be surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, we watched it, and I was almost immediately like, oh, this was probably written like
yesterday,
a month ago. To find out what was the research that you found on that?
I think. Hold on, sorry. I lost it. It was like
1978. Is that what you said?
I think even further.
Oh my god! Like it's almost 50 years old. I mean, you said. I think you said it was
79.
Okay, 1979. So
under his pseudonym, Richard Bachman.
Okay. Yeah. So if you've seen the trailer, and obviously we'll maybe make a note here before we go into spoiler.
Yeah, 100% spoiler
territory. But like it is. Well, actually, let's see. What is IMDb say? Do you have that?
Yeah.
Okay. I got it here.
Oh, you got it.
A group of teenage boys compete in an annual contest known as the Long Walk, in which they must maintain a certain walking speed or get shot.
Oh, okay. Well.
And yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? They kind of show that in the trailer, and that's why I was like, well, like this seems a little strange. Like they kind of gave away the plot or the plot twist. Mm-hmm. But I think in reality, it's like, well, where would this kind of go? Like, I think what was interesting though, and again, I don't think this is like spoiler or anything, but this is like an alternate reality future, I think is what it's. I'm pretty sure because based on their dress and the cars in the beginning and the military, this must be like a Cold War, post World War II, pre-Vietnam.
He wrote it during Vietnam.
Okay, he wrote it during Vietnam, but I think the intention of the movie was for it to be like a post World War II, maybe like post Korean War, maybe.
Oh, like in the movie itself?
In the movie itself.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Based on how they were dressed, the cars, the like the technology, like even though they showed some digital technology.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. I think it was supposed to be kind of ambiguous as far as
I think it very much was intended to be that, but I think it was like this.
Would you say the guns were like more modern though, or
no?
I don't know shit about guns.
No, so. those were like M16, so those were like Vietnam era style weapons. But I want to say those may have been phased in. No, those were phased in during Vietnam, so it must have been leading up to Vietnam, because they talk about in the movie, they talk about how it's post-war.
There's some kind of war that happened,
right? And so I either assume it was a Korean War or some fictional like Cold War.
That some kind of fictional war that then kind of, I guess, devastated the country somehow,
right? Like in an economic sense.
Yeah, economically, yeah.
Yeah, and do you ever remember those
Sally.
Do you ever remember what do you call it? There was a game called Red Alert or Command and Conquer. Do you remember those games? They were like
a PC game, or
they were like RTSs. And they're based on alternate reality, as if like,
interesting.
What if World War II didn't end when it did, and then it leads to nuclear war, and well, not nuclear war. Like there's, like basically, what if what if Germany lost, but then Russia ended up being the superpower instead of the U.S. So there's like a whole story to that.
Oh, gotcha.
And so like that, those games are based on that because you end up finding the Russians or whatever. It's an RTS, right? So it's kind of like, it's kind of like Age of Empires and games like that. But I was always fascinated by that sort of like alternate history storytelling. And this is the first time I've seen that in a while. And so this whole movie is basically, I guess without sounding overly political, but I mean, it is what it is.
Here we go.
And this is what's interesting, right? Because this was written in 1979. Yeah. So people can complain all they want about like, oh, well, you know, this is, I want to go to movies to be entertained and I leave politics out of the movies. I'm sorry, but like, you know, art tends to be generated because of the world around us.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's always been that from George Romero, to, you know, John Carpenter, to like Jordan Peele.
Even going back really, when you think about fine art, I mean, every form of art is supposed to. Okay, I'm not gonna. Well, no, I'm not doing it.
I don't want to go deep.
I'm not doing it.
And I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to derail too much in that. But what I will say though, where I was kind of going with that is, this is very much a "Let's Make America Great Again" movie, because that is kind of what they're getting at.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
America has gotten weak post whatever war we had.
Yeah.
And so we need to take our young men and do this long walk, is what they call it, to show the country, and they would televise it.
Yeah.
To show the country that we are still strong.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, there's no other.
They don't really go too deep into the mechanics of it.
No, they just talk about how, like, showing how tough we are.
Yeah.
Will make us all tougher.
Right.
And that's it.
Totally.
And that's the part that I didn't expect that. That was the part that I was like, oh, that's kind of a plot twist, because I thought that maybe these, like, based on the trailer, I thought maybe these were like prisoners, or they were like
interesting,
delinquents, or I don't know. They like, I thought that they were doing this to like almost like a battle royale, but a U.S. version.
Right.
I thought it was gonna be something like that. I didn't realize that this was gonna be. This is how we make America great.
Yeah.
By showing how tough we are and televising it. And that's it. Like, and that's really the premise of the movie. And so when we sat down, I was kind of like, okay, so where's this going to go?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Because we know they're going to shoot him, and that's not a surprise to us.
Right.
So, and it didn't. So immediately I started thinking, well, then that means the characters in the movie are not surprised. Mm-hmm. That is what they have.
That's the point. Yeah.
That they have signed up for, because it's a lottery system that they have signed up for this, and the way that the movie starts with a letter, I guess, from the character that Luke Skywalker plays,
the
Mark
Major.
Hamill. Yeah, the Major is his name. Who, I guess, I don't know if he's like, I don't know. They don't make it clear that there's a president, so maybe we are living under a military regime America, maybe.
That's true.
Because I think I think that is what is intended, because there are other parts of the movie where it's sort of like this, we're a police state, in that the government is running like a lot of things, and we'll get into that a little bit later when we get into spoiler territory. But yeah, when that stuff kind of got brought up, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was like, wow, this is like a real like they must have written this like a month ago. Like, and to find out that this was written almost like 50 years ago.
Fucking last week or something.
Yeah, and that says a lot. Yeah. Like, I think that says a ton about like.
Well, from the little that I've been able to pull up since we got home, it sounds like Stephen King himself, at the time that he wrote it, he was thinking of Vietnam, and specifically because he didn't get drafted, but he had that fear of getting drafted.
Right.
But then just kind of seeing everybody else get drafted and getting kind of chewed up and spit out by this machine, basically.
Right. Well, and that kind of makes sense in the fact that he talks about how this is a lottery system.
Yeah.
And that's literally how our draft worked in Vietnam.
right.
It was a lottery system of, how people were picked. And I think the only thing that kept you out was if you were a family that only had a single child, I think you were exempt. And then obviously if you were going to college or if you had some sort of medical condition, like your foot or whatever it is that certain presidents may have had. But anyway, so yeah, I guess I didn't realize that it was that old, and it definitely makes sense now that this is very much an allegory of like a Vietnam feeling.
Well, so I didn't know this, but he was on Reddit, I guess, like answering questions about the movie. He says, at the time, Vietnam was chewing up our kids pretty bad. Back then, 1967, there were still college deferments for kids in school, but it was a scary time to be young. And a year later, they did away with deferments and put in a lottery. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He said, I was lucky I drew a high number, but that was too close to the long walk for comfort.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that we had switched that, and that's kind of not surprising.
That's terrifying in that case.
Yeah.
Because then...
Well, and again, not to get super political, but I'm pretty sure if you're doing a lottery, that I'm sure that is a fixed lottery because somebody has to run that lottery.
Man, come on.
What was it that it was Hyman and I were watching that movie Dragon Slayer, where like it's a lottery for the virgins. But then it turns out that like the king's daughter gets selected, and it was like, wait, what? And it's because she fixed it, realizing that this whole time she had been protected by her dad. So, but that's interesting because that does come up again in the movie later when they're talking about who has like signed up for this this lottery.
Yeah.
Because they talk about how it's an honor to it's an honor to do the walk.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny because this very much speaks to, like, I now seeing it through that lens of what you just said, like, this really hits hard about, like, that when this is written, that era, more so than it does about our current state that we're living in, like, our current, like, country time in politics and everything that we're living on now, because it feels like that's what it's, like, kind of poking at. But I think in reality, now that I think about it, it really isn't. But I think it also speaks to a bigger, like, social sort of commentary on, like, it's always been like this.
Right,
and there's a lot of things, right, told
well,
in
just the
different...
idea, right, of violence for the sake of violence, kind of assuming kids will take on specific kinds of burdens because grown-ups are idiots. And can't think of any kind of better system to do anything.
Right.
I mean, I think all of those truths end up being universal at some point.
Right.
Because it's always the young, the marginalized, the whatever. They're the ones having to pay the price. Right. If the, quote unquote grown-ups.
The system that other grown-ups have set up for them.
Right. And I think, generationally, that's just true all the time.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I think even more so, it's much more stark during times of war or times of Great Depression or any other kind of like turmoil during the country. It becomes more evident because really, at the end of the day, who gets screwed over but the people that are left behind to clean it up, you know?
Exactly.
Which is usually the young people.
Yeah, young people or the people that don't have as much privilege to be able to have anything different.
To escape or to
escape.
Do anything about it. Right.
Hey, this is, and that's really the thing, right? It's like the part of the reason why would you even sign up for this long walk?
Yeah.
Because whoever ends up winning gets a riches beyond their
wildest
imagination,
dreams,
and they get
one wish. Yeah.
One wish of anything, which again, not spoiling anything, but like they talked about how one winner got a pet elephant.
Yeah,
And they were like, and they gave it to him, you know. And
so obviously, like, nothing's off the table.
Off the table.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think before we get into spoiler territory,
I want to talk real quick about everybody involved in this movie.
Oh yeah.
I pulled it up and I was kind of,
holy shit,
it's pretty stacked, honestly. Like
it really is, and I think obviously, I think you and I agree that there is a star in this movie. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, really, honestly, there's two.
Honestly, yeah.
There really is two, but I think one of them really, I am falling in love with this guy. Like, this guy is amazing, and I will watch. We need to go back and watch whatever he's been in.
Yeah.
And whatever he's coming out in the future, like, we got to watch because, man, this guy.
I mean,
yeah.
So the director is Francis Lawrence.
I saw that.
Which, interestingly, he directed the Hunger Games movies.
Well,
so this is
the last two, right? I think. Or was it all? I think it was the last two.
Maybe the last two.
I think it was the last two. I did see that his big one on there was Constantine. Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite movies. And anytime it's on TV, it just stays on TV.
Yep.
And he directed a whole bunch of music videos.
A ton. I saw that. That's like, really interesting.
Lady Gaga. I think there was a Beyonce in there somewhere.
Yeah,
like
Gwen
huge.
Stefani.
Huge names.
There was an OK Go in there.
There's an OK Go in there. I think it's, I mean, they're all good.
They're all, yeah.
So I don't know which one, but
clearly he has an eye for, like, he has an eye for storytelling.
Yeah.
Even in music videos, because I think that like looking at that list of music videos, I mean, I don't remember all of them, but they are all like memorable. Like, there's something about them, almost more so than the song itself.
Right. Yeah, Beyonce. Oh, he did the Run the World. Let's see, he did the Bad Romance music video, the Britney Spears Circus video. Oh, he directed I Am Legend.
Oh, with Will Smith?
Yeah, which that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He did a 9 Inch Nails music video.
Oh,
yeah. OK Go, couple of Pussycat Dolls. So it's a huge swath of stuff that he's done, which is definitely like super interesting. So yeah, he has a certain eye for storytelling, whether it's short or long format.
Yeah, that's interesting. I thought the movie was very well directed. I thought the cinematography for a movie that is I guess this is what you would call, it's weird because it's a moving it's a moving chamber piece, I guess you could say. Like, this would be a chamber piece movie because it takes place effectively only one setting. Yeah. Except that setting is moving constantly, but really they're on the road the entire time.
That's interesting.
And there really is only like very, very few brief moments where we are not watching them on the road. And I thought that was a remarkable feat to keep this entertaining when I'm like, man, how, like, I can already hear the brainstorming of like, how are you going to make this entertaining of just a bunch of people walking?
Honestly, I could have kept watching it.
Yeah.
Also, like, I mean, and that says something about the acting and the cinematography and the storytelling. Yeah. Like,
the pacing, everything was just, man.
It was about as pitch perfect as you can get with the material, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And then the script, what is it called? The adaptation from book to script was written by J.T. Molnar, who directed one of our favorite movies of the past year, which is Strange Darling.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's super interesting.
That actually, I can see the similarities.
Yeah, right?
In those movies, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just very kind of stark, little bleak, but still...
Like there's like a level of
really
humor, dark humor.
Yeah, really alive still.
Yeah, there's something that was very relatable about pretty much every character in that movie that had a little something like, oh, I know somebody like that, or I'm like that, or everybody has like quite a bit of that.
Or like, I can see doing that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah. Interesting.
And then if we want to go and talk about the cast itself, I mean, just a whole interesting cast of young actors, honestly.
Yeah.
Obviously headlined by Cooper Hoffman, son of the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yep.
And he was terrific in this.
He was, man.
I couldn't like look away from him every time he was on.
Yep.
It just there's something about him just so natural. I don't know. It's almost effortless.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It felt very like there are actors, and then there are people that just like we said, who's Matt Damon. Like, for as much shit as he gets, like he falls into that. Like, you forget he's in movies because he's so good at just being that character that you're like, oh shit, that's right, Matt Damon's in that.
Yeah,
and like, but it's not because he's bad, but it's because like. He's a good character actor, even though he's like, I guess you could say a superstar.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that's where like
they're just good at like inhabiting the role,
right?
But
he doesn't look super like a Hollywood heartthrob or I mean, you know, he's kind of like his dad. He's kind of chubby a little bit, but he's got like
he's got such a presence about him too, and not like. You know, an intimidating presence or anything, not exactly. It's more like you want to watch him every time he's doing something.
Yeah, like he knows how to, like he blends into the roles instead of standing out as as an actor.
Yes.
And it was, man, he was so good.
He was honestly like for the material that it shouldn't have been as good as it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like he did a lot with what little there was.
Yeah. But I mean, for as good as he was, David, I don't know if it's Johnson or...
It looks like Johnson.
And I don't know if it's like...
David Johnson.
If it's English.
He's British, it sounds like.
Yeah. So, I'm sure it's spelled... I mean, I'm sure it's enunciated like Johnson, even though it's got a different spelling.
He's from London.
Than the U.S. Spelling. But this is... what was his name in Alien Romulus? Andy in Romulus. Man, this guy, holy shit. Like, not only is he a good-looking guy, but man, his presence and like his, like when he gives like performance in this movie, it's like, man, it's
kind of stunning to watch him.
You can't take your eyes and your ears off of like what is happening when he is like talking. And the weird thing is like he's not like sticking out above everybody else. Like,
no, it's a perfect like compliment to everybody. Like everybody's at a really good same like level.
Right.
Yeah, nobody's like trying to outpace anybody or anything.
But still like and it's not like an alpha like amongst the group, but he's like a confident sort of person within this group as their characters, not so much as an actor, but as the characters are designed and needed.
Yeah.
And we find out why, like later in the movie when he kind of talks a little bit more about it. But man, I was just like, I couldn't believe it was him because like
so different.
He's very different. And to be fair, like in Romulus, because that was the last time we saw him, he was more like this slim sort of like. I mean, he looked like an android. Like, and he was wearing He was wearing like a jumpsuit, like so you really couldn't get a sense for that. And in this movie, he's wearing a very like 70s like I don't know, like the typical like hardworking, you know, black person of the South, like person that you would see like that probably did go off to Vietnam and was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And he just had that like he wore his outfit, he wore that presence, he wore that era, like man.
Like he belonged there. I mean it was so natural.
It was unbelievable how good he was.
And you're right in the fact that it was like watching a play because you watched him against Cooper Hoffman, and it was just a lot of back and forth between them, and it was kind of incredible to watch, honestly.
Yeah, I mean everybody. I think I thought that character Ben Wang, the Asian kid, or I say kid, he looks like a kid, but I guess he's an adult. I guess he was in the most recent Karate Kid movie, which we haven't seen, but. He was good. Like he played like this Southern Asian kid. Like
I thought it was like kind of a New York accent or something.
Or it was something.
Was that?
Yeah, but it you know what? I think you're right.
Or Jersey or something.
It is a very thick accent, and I think that was obviously like played up, like to sort of regionalize everybody.
Yeah.
because you had people from the South and then people from like the Northeast, and then you had people that were like, there was one guy who was like a native.
Yeah.
And then
he was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that long black hair.
Yeah, that guy was. Is that guy? What was that guy? I don't know how you say his last name. Joshua.
I'm not even gonna try.
Odeek.
It sounds like he's gonna be in a couple of other Stephen King adaptations.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's gonna be the kind of the it boy for some of those projects.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The It series.
Yeah, the show. Yeah.
On HBO. Yeah, he was really good. I didn't know if he was like in anything we have seen. Like, I don't know if he.
It doesn't seem like.
I thought maybe he was like in that Predator Prey movie or.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think he was. But he was really good too.
Yeah.
I mean, all the characters.
They all, honestly, the entire cast was pretty.
Yeah. But I think those two guys were the standouts. Yeah. I mean, because those are the two central characters of the movie. Right. And so, yeah. I guess before we get into spoilers, I definitely would say that it has definitely been added to the list of top movies of 2025.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
Whether it can outbeat any of the movies from this year, I don't know, but it comes pretty damn close. And
it's pretty high up there.
I sure hope that David Johnson gets some sort of like nods in the Oscar run for supporting actor or something. Like this movie needs recognition.
You know what this movie kept making me think of the whole time, because of the friendship aspect and because of all like the male friend bonding that was going on. It made me think really quickly, almost instantly, as soon as they started becoming friends, of Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I can see that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's what we were talking about on the ride home, was like, there's definitely something to be said about like, yes, Stephen King is a great horror writer, but really he's a better character writer than he is anything else. And like his non-horror movies are probably some of his best work.
I think it's some of his stronger work. And granted, I haven't really read as much Stephen King as maybe I should have. I read a lot of his short stories, like horror stories. But I think I agree in a lot of his more kind of humanistic kind of stories, short stories, books, that doesn't necessarily have a heavy horror element to it. Right. At least a traditionally horror element. I mean, obviously, what's happening in The Long Walk is horrific.
Right.
But his more traditional horror stuff is good in that, it taps into a lot of those primal fears. But his more his more drama-driven stuff is actually really powerful.
Yes.
Because he's really good at tapping into kind of a lot of those really basic humanness of people.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, especially when you were saying that this was written with the backdrop of Vietnam in mind. Mm-hmm. You can definitely see that.
Yeah, you feel it, yeah.
All right, well then I guess from like this point forward, spoilers ahead or aho or how do you say that?
Ahoy.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, spoilers. Stop here if you haven't seen the movie yet. And pray for us to figure out what food we're gonna attach to this. But
oh shit, I haven't even thought that far.
Well, again, the podcast is called Film the Table. So yeah. Okay. I don't know how much spoilery this kind of really ends up getting. I mean, it is spoilery, but yeah. So so the movie is pretty straightforward. Like, I mean, it is no joke that basically the movie just kind of you see Ray, who's played by Cooper Hoffman, at the beginning talking to his mom about how he's going to do this. He signed up for it. He volunteered. He was picked, and she drops him off, and they have like a really like heartbreaking moment. It moved really fast. Then I was like, wait, seriously? Like that's it? And then the movie starts and we're walking. Like we're
there.
We're already, the long walk begins. Like it does not take long to get into the movie, that's why I was like really like intrigued, because I was like, wait, where is this going? Because there's no way they're going to have us watch these guys walk for an hour and a half. I don't even. How long was this movie, anyways? Like, it felt like it was an hour 48, so almost 2 hours.
Pretty tight.
Well, I mean, yeah.
For a movie these days.
Yeah, you're right at the threshold.
Yeah.
But for a movie to go this long with that being the main premise, like, you are right. I could have watched another like 20, 30 minutes of more knife twisting. Because, so, like I was saying, he gets dropped off at the beginning and then they just start walking. And I mean, there is a little bit of like, they kind of get to know each other. And this really plays on Vietnam. Like, I obviously don't, I mean, I am the son of a Vietnam vet, and it's not really something that my dad talks much about, and I don't blame him. And I don't think anybody, if they don't want to talk about that kind of stuff, they don't need to. I think when you are, when something like that happens, it's like, there's no reason, right? Like, it's not, you're doing your duty, but at the same time, it's not really something that you should be, like, you are proud to serve your country, but at the same time, when you look at the bigger picture, it's like you're asking to do somebody else's work, right? Yep. And in the cause of, like, you know, the cause of good, even though there's a lot of questions about, like, some of the wars, right? Like, and starting with Vietnam.
Oh, totally.
That was the case, right? Not to diminish anybody who served, but it's really more just a matter of, again,
what's questioning really more the administration and the government more than making
making, like, adults making decisions that now kids are having to be the force to execute those decisions that, you know, whereas in World War II is a very different sort of situation. 100%. So it's interesting because the movie starts, like, with them gathering at the beginning of the long walk, and it seems very Vietnamish in that, like, people are coming from all over the country, and we've just sort of thrown all these people together, and, like, going to Vietnam, there's a good chance that you were going to get killed. And so, like, these kids getting together at the beginning of this long walk, they know that there's only one outcome.
Right.
Like, you're gonna die or you're gonna make it, and that's literally how I would imagine it felt going to Vietnam.
Totally.
Like, what is the winning scenario? Me not dying.
Right.
Like, that's it.
Right.
Like,
regardless of
what
anything that happens, anything you do,
because it's not the same as, like, I mean, as much as, you know, I'm sure the administration back then would say, like, we're defeating communism. It's like, are we really? Like, and what is, and, like, are we worried that it's literally at our doorstep?
Right, because we're flying to the opposite side of the world.
It's not like, you know, a dictator who's invading, you know, like Hitler invading, like, France and Poland and places like that.
You're literally just going to another country.
Right. Like, we're there to help because it's literally happening.
Yeah.
Whereas it was definitely a different story in Vietnam. So having that as, like, a backdrop, that really makes me want to see this movie again, because it makes those opening engagements and the conversations they're having, like, very much, he must have talked to a lot of vets about, like, you know, well, what was it like when you first got there? It's like, you start making friends because
what else are you going to do?
Yeah. Like,
how else are you going to get through it?
Yeah. And that's actually another interesting point in that, like, this is one of the very few movies that I can think of that has nothing to do with sports and has nothing to do with war, but shows how camaraderie in a scenario, like, the human element, the humanness of all of us, like, will come together, even though they talk about this, like, when they get on the road.
Yeah.
When they start walking, it's really interesting because nobody's like, they're like, the initial conversation starts to, like, well, why are we all doing this? We're doing this because of the money.
Right. We want to win. We want a better life.
But it was Ray who was the first one to kind of say, like, I'm not doing it for the money. Right. And everyone's like, of course you're doing it for the money. Like,
why else would you do
it? Why else would you sacrifice your life for this if it's not about the money?
Yeah.
And that's when he sort of starts on the, I think it's about something bigger.
Yeah.
Like, and then that's when it really started to get interesting, because then it's like, well, what is he getting at? when the reality is it's almost like going to Vietnam and saying like, I'm trying to think about this for a larger good, but at the same time, I don't necessarily believe that this is the only choice that we have.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping for a better choices in the future if I can get through this.
Yeah.
And that leads to like other stuff later. But it's interesting because that sounds very much like people who probably were drafted and said, I believe in democracy and freedom. Mm-hmm. And I guess I have to do this, even though I don't know if I fully 100% agree with the reasonings behind this. And it kind of gets into like authoritarianism. Mm-hmm. It sort of gets a little bit into like, because they start getting like, he's like, well, what are you kind of getting at? Like the guys random start asking those questions and they start having conversation like that we all would, right? Which is like, you know, I feel like we are doing this because we've been told that there's no other real choice, that like we're in an economic downfall and this is the only way we can get out.
Well, he was also alluding to the idea of like, there's been so much propaganda and like brainwashing about the system that the lottery feels like it's not a choice at all anymore because everybody's going to sign up for it because why wouldn't you?
Right.
So if it's not really a choice, then you have to do it regardless.
Right.
So at that point, then you just have to, you know what I mean? Like there's no getting out of it either way.
Right. Yeah. And so like, it's kind of funny because it starts, I think people around him start saying like, hey, you shouldn't really talk like that.
Don't
like,
rock the boat. Right.
Yeah. Because that, you know, talking against what we know, the system and the state and everything, like that's bad. And it's just kind of funny because that's when I would like was kind of thrown off by like, oh, okay, they're talking about like our current state of affairs, but they're not like, really they were talking about like, that's kind of always been there, even as far back as, you know, not to say things were better pre-World War, but I mean, or World War II, but I think this idea of what we were alluding to, which is like this system that's in place for certain people to partake in, but not everybody. And they kind of allude to that because the contest itself is like, they just walk. There's no breaks.
Yeah, not at all. Like for anything.
Nothing. If they have to use the bathroom, they got to figure it out. Yeah. As they're walking. If they have rations, they do give them water. Yeah. They give them the bare essentials to maintain some level of keeping it going. To
stay alive.
Stay alive as much as they can.
Right. But again, there's no like bathroom breaks. There's no sleeping. Yeah. It's like continuous walking.
Yeah. And so like they have to just figure it out. Yeah. And it was interesting because then as it goes on, the characters, and in particular like Pete and Ray, they basically start becoming really good friends and basically are the two that they kind of connect. And you know, in thinking about it, like I'm grateful for like everything that my dad did and that my brother did in serving the military. And there is a bond with people that they have served with that I will never understand or know. Totally. And I think that that's like an important thing, right? Like it's something that it's part of it's part of what makes us, right? And like, even like for you and I, like we're married and we went through some stuff together, and like going through life together at some of its hardest times is what kind of bonds you. Yeah. And when it happens in the military, and especially with like being shot at and having to save the people around you, like that bond is forever, right? And it makes me think of my dad and some of the people that we met that were his friends and that are still some of his friends that like live in different parts of the country, and like they are like brothers, you know. And that's really what this movie kind of gets to in its core, is like in the worst of elements around you, like if we take the time to really like understand each other, like we can all like bond and we're all going to find something relatable, which is like, we're all human, we're all flesh. All your disagreements on like your skin color or what part of the country you are or wealth or whatever, none of that matters when you're in a scenario like that.
Yeah.
And people and I think it's kind of interesting because it's like it's an amazing thing to see that from people, but also people should never have to go through that.
Right.
And
right.
that's
all like the petty shit that we do on our day-to-day lives when we're busy with so many other things versus like when you're just trying to stay alive. It's it strips away everything else that's unnecessary when you're literally just having to like, okay, if I stay alive and the guy next to me stays alive, then that's all I need right now.
Right.
And it strips away so many other things because what does anything else matter?
Yeah. And it's funny because remember we were conversing on the way to the theater, and we were talking about, I forgot how we were talking about, but we were talking about like, oh man, like it's so expensive living out there, and imagine like imagine being like a young person who has to go to college now, and and how college is expensive, and like
how I probably could have never do it at this point.
Yeah, if you and I were like in a young age and we had to go to college, like we may choose a job over college right now because it's just everything's ludicrous. So expensive.
I paid like $17 for ramen today. I mean,
oh wow,
$17, isn't that crazy?
And and like I think during the movie it kind of had me thinking, like for a minute there I was like, man, they're kind of also talking about like how hard it is just to be alive, like especially if you're not somebody of like great wealth or upbringing, you know, because everybody had their stories of like why they're doing this, and a lot of them were like, because it could potentially be better than what I got, and what I got isn't that great, like, and just living is really hard, and it's like not that like just living's gonna kill you, but for some people it probably would. And so like when they're kind of getting to bond and know each other it's weird to say, but like within the first 100 miles, because it's unbelievable the amount of miles that they walk. And I guess to avoid a spoiler, we won't say how many final miles they walk, but it's more than 100. And like at a certain point you're like, oh my God, like that's why it's like, man, I walked like a mile to like the mall, and
that felt like
a young
forever.
Kid, it felt like forever. And 100 miles, man, geez. And so like they start to really open up to each other about like their backstories, but not everybody does, which I thought was like kind of interesting. And they do when they're faced with like death as the only other option that's left. And I found that to be like really like interesting and sad and like very like
very true.
Very true, like, and very humanistic. Being human.
Yeah.
Like you know, as the movie kind of goes on, there's one guy who gets another young, I guess, kind of kid. Like he starts picking on him. And he's talking about his mom and
just talking shit.
Yeah, he's just talking shit. But he talks enough shit that he throws the kid off, like from his like
pace.
Yeah, he's just now like trying to fight this other guy and
just fumbling around.
Yeah, and it ends up getting him killed because he ends up breaking the rules that are set by the was it the colonel,
the major,
or the major, and it gets him killed. And that again is a very Vietnam sort of ish thing of like, hey man, like don't be fucking around while we're doing this, because like if you're not going to take this seriously, like it'll get you killed. And I would imagine that was very much like young kids that are like talking shit because that's a normal thing that kids do.
Kids do that all the time.
But nobody tells you like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that when you're being shot at or you're doing other things. And then it started to hit that kid of like, oh my God, because everyone's like, dude, you got him killed. And then he started to have a mental breakdown of like, no, I didn't. And then he was like, well, maybe I did. And he starts like, he degrades over time as they continue to walk, and he just eats away at this kid. And like, that speaks to like PTSD and just like,
right.
I mean, there's so much like layers
it really is,
of
and
depth in this movie.
if you're looking at it from, well, of the current political climate from that lens, but even just in general of what power we allow other people to have over us,
Yeah.
as far as free speech.
Yeah.
I mean, to be completely topical, but like free speech, free thought. I mean,
Right.
like really
The ability to read any art.
Just music and like any of that, right? Like the more it slowly erodes. And it's kind of funny because in certain way this movie feels there's parts of it, and obviously I don't think it's intentional, but there's parts of it that almost feel a little bit condescending, in the sense not necessarily in a bad or malicious way, but almost in the sense of like, look at all this stuff that we have to put up with, all of this shit that's been taken away from us. And then one of the characters basically says like, oh, keep on, I can't remember what exactly he says, but keep on making sure that love wins in your life, or don't feel bitter or broken down or whatever. And you're looking at this whole scenario, like he's telling you like, don't let the anger win or something like that. Don't let the rage win.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like that portion of it. And I'm not saying like,
I know what part you're talking
right.
about too. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's unnecessary, because I do think people believe that. And I do feel like people mean that intentionally when they say that. And I feel like they intend to follow through with saying stuff like that. But in the scenario of the grander context of the thing, it's like, why wouldn't you be fucking mad?
Right.
Why wouldn't you be enraged? Why wouldn't you fight back?
Right.
Like this whole idea of kind of just doing it just to get through it, just to get by. It's funny because it's kind of sold as like, oh, that's the noble character. That's what he's saying. Because don't let that eat away at you, because the better thing for you to be a human is to like let go of it, let go of the anger, let go. But like, no, I don't know. Yeah. No, for me, no.
Yeah.
Because I mean, between you and me, I feel like we are very compassionate, empathetic people. And we feel like between the two of us, I don't think we'd ever intentionally hurt anybody else. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of rage against the machine that insists on like running people over.
Right.
Like, I don't think you should
take advantage of people like us who are empathetic.
Exactly.
And know that like, oh, well, I can be myself doing blah, 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 because they will deal with like whatever, because people are weak and empathetic.
Right.
And
I'm sick of it. Like, I'm tired of it.
Yeah, no.
Like,
and I agree with you. And I know exactly what part you're talking about in the movie.
Because that was honestly like, I honestly like that they left it in the movie.
Yes.
Because I do definitely think, and I'm honestly, there's still a part of me that thinks that way too. And I want to go back to that part of me in the past, in like the not very distant past, that still felt like that.
Right.
But in the position in that you're in, whether in the context of the movie or the current political climate, why wouldn't you be fucking enraged? Right. Like, why would you put up with it and like take it with a smile and just keep carrying on?
Right.
Like, what is the point of that?
It's interesting because the movie builds to that. And I guess this is where the big spoiler part of the movie will come in. So seriously, if you have not seen the movie, like, stop listening, because I thought that's what made this movie like really good. And like all of a sudden kind of could be one of my favorite movies of the year, because I was like, wow, you just stared right through me, like right into my eyes and pushed right through me, because you know me, and I think a lot of people know me. I mean, we record this podcast because you and I like talking about movies, but I think it's because of what they mean and how they are relatable. And, yes, we can't deny the fact that we are living in a terrible time in our country and we're all angry about it, or some of us are very angry about it, especially us that are not like, we are the minorities, right? We're not, what would be considered the people that, that are the ideal people, I guess, or whatever. We're both like dark skinned and we're not, we're
the kind of people that are afraid of the ICE raids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all that to say, like, I have always been a very positive person. And as I've gotten older, I try to maintain that positivity based on my life experience. But my my willingness and tiredness to explore and push that out is getting smaller and smaller by the day.
Totally.
Because of what's happening around us. But much like in this movie, it's like it's more about the drive for us and the immediate people around us, the brothers in arms, in a way that you could say, those are the people that matter, and that's what's important. And there's like the part you're talking about in the movie when we understand why Raymond's character has decided to do this.
Yeah.
And and this is where, again, it feels very like of the time, but I don't think so. I think that this was written in that time period.
Totally.
And maybe it was, I mean, I guess you and I have never read the book, so
right.
It's hard to say for sure.
There may be some tweaks from the script adaptation.
But it very much like fits, which is
totally.
Like the reason why Raymond has signed up to do this was because he talks about how his dad was his hero. He meant everything to him. And it was because his dad wanted to show him that there was more to the world than what is being shown by the authority.
Yeah.
Which is like censoring, like don't read books about this. Don't read books about thinkers or people that, go opposing what the current like state says. Right. Yeah. And we're not talking about like the current like administration, I mean, even though topical, but that's what they're saying in the movie. And then, so it turns out that his father was pulled out of his house and killed. Well, no, he wasn't killed. He is pulled out in front of his wife and kid and told that he's been illicit material, like
accused of harboring illicit material or something.
So basically, books that had been censored,
right?
And that he was
like everything that
was censored,
music, books, art, stuff like that.
And Ray talks about how his dad showed him those things, and it meant a lot to him. And so the major pulls him out in the middle of the night. This is the only flashback of the movie, where he pulls him out and tells him, you can either take a knee and say that you
like disavow, or like now you're gonna commit yourself to the state or something like
that. And you pledge allegiance to the state.
Right.
Like you will not do this again because you know that this is wrong, or like we can terminate you.
Yeah.
And of course he chooses the latter, which saying like, and right before he gets shot or executed effectively right in front of his family, he says, don't forget who you are. He says that to the kid, to Ray, and then he shoots him. So he wants to win this race because his one wish is to get a carbine, a gun, and then he's going to shoot the major.
Yeah.
And then that's where we hear the speech from Pete about how like, no, like life is worth more than that. Like,
like think of all the good you can do in the world. Yeah. Or like, don't let that rage win because you have so much you can live for.
That
all this and all that.
There are people who don't have families.
Right.
There are people that don't have the things that you had, that didn't have your dad, that didn't have a mom right now, that has a mom back home waiting for you. Like, that sacrifice is not worth it. And like you were saying, like love and like the moments that we have of like being alive mean a lot. And it was like you said, it was the right thing to have in the movie. And I was so angry hearing that, because I was like,
it just felt, it felt condescending, because it felt like you should just be happy. Right. You're alive. What's the big problem?
Right.
Whatever.
This is coming from a black guy.
Right.
Who's telling this to the white guy, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, because I think that there isn't like a. They don't mention that there's like racism and stuff.
There's no concept of there's no tone of any of that.
But I think you can still kind of allude to some of that.
Totally.
Because everybody in the military is white, or like...
I didn't even catch that, but you're right.
There is nobody of color. And pretty much everybody who's in that group, for the most part, were minorities. Yeah, they were like Native American, Asian.
Yeah, it's a good spread.
There were a couple of black people. the only white people that were there were like skinny and lanky and kind of like weak, you know,
died pretty quickly.
They died pretty fast. And like the only like people that were not of color that were killed were the only ones that were like the big, tall, brooding types. And even then, like, you know, it eventually got caught up with them. But like, yeah, it felt that was a very interesting scene. So I'm glad you said that, because I don't know exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I felt like angry, but I was feeling something that I was like,
what?
Like,
Dude, I totally agree.
I hear you, and I know that I've been there.
Yeah.
But also, like, this asshole's making you guys walk.
But also, fuck that. Right. Yeah, totally.
Because he kept, like, every time they would cut to the major, he kept saying, like, come on, boys, like, we gotta, let's show everybody that this is the American spirit, and, like, it's just symbolism. Like, you're on a fucking truck. You're not even walking.
Yeah, and they even say later, like, oh, why does he look so fresh every time? Like, he goes to sleep.
Yeah, they were like,
he takes showers. Like, it's not like he's sitting on the tank with us for, like,
Like, again, like, that's like people of authority saying, like, that's what makes us strong. Is like, oh, are you strong? Oh, no, I can't do that. Like, I'm gonna ride in the truck and watch you guys. Like,
I mean, it was
walking. That's for like dumb people.
It was such a great piece of writing to leave in when it was. It would have been so easy to take it out, because you feel a certain way when he's saying it.
Right.
Because you want to agree with him because he's the likable character and he's the one you're rooting for, really. But then you look at the situation and it's like, why the fuck would you put up with this? Why aren't you mad? You should be the maddest.
Yes.
You should be the absolute maddest. Well, and I know it's because, like, he tells the story of, like, how he was. Yeah, later he tells the story. He's an orphan and he had to go through. He
actually tells the story about, because he has a big scar on his face, like a huge scar on his face.
Yeah.
And everybody asks him, like, hey,
like, how'd that happen?
Well, they all start telling stories to each other, and that's the one where someone brings up and he's like, let's not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Why don't we just not talk for a while?
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't want to talk about it because it's very personal to him.
Yeah.
And up to that point, Pete has been he is like that guy that is effectively the squad leader, like without saying he's the squad leader. Everybody's following his lead because he's like, come on, guys, we just got to get to the next big moment in our journey, and that'll get us there.
Yeah.
Because people start breaking down, they start getting like, they start focusing on like the things that are hurting on them.
Right.
Like they start getting Charlie horses. One guy like everybody's just getting sleepy or whatever, and he's like, no, you got to focus on like the next one, the next big point.
Yeah.
And when we get there, we'll have stories to tell and we'll have things. And so, like, I thought that was, like, an interesting way of putting it, because I think that way, too, from time to time. Like, we just got to get to, like, Texas Frightmare, and we'll be good. Like, we'll start feeling better about, you know, this or that or whatever. And so I thought that was, like, very interesting. But then, I guess at one point when Ray starts really getting at his wit's end, Pete tells him, like, do you want to know how I got the scar?
Yeah.
And it's just the two of them. And he tells him that both his parents were killed in front of him, and he's like, I don't even remember them.
Yeah.
They were killed.
They were so little.
Like, when I was like 8 or something, and then he had to, I guess, live with his uncle,
who was abusive.
He was a drunk and abusive and beat him up all the time.
And then he died.
He died being an alcoholic. It sounds like, and so I guess he became like homeless, basically as a child. Like not even a foster kid. He was just a homeless person. Like he was like, I lived on the side of, like, I'd sleep on the side of the road.
In the ditch or whatever.
I ate whatever I could get my hands on, and I...
Like truly like kind of like feral surviving.
Yeah.
Just surviving, just trying to get by. And then he does end up in the system at some point. And that was somehow like still not great. Right.
And then I guess he talks about how he gets into a fight with somebody.
Right.
And
that ends up being much stronger than him and like ends up cutting him up.
Yeah.
And basically like leaves him for dead.
Yeah.
And he tells this whole story in the context of like, he doesn't have anybody. He grew up, he was alone. He kind of fought for everything that he had. And he's trying to convey this to Ray as like, at least you have your mom. And that's something you got something waiting for you at the end.
Right.
So, and that's worth it. That's, that love right there, that's worth it. And you shouldn't be blah, blah, blah. That was a context in which he says, you need to let go of that, all that rage and all that hate, because like there's love waiting for you at the other side. And isn't there something, there's so much beauty that's still worth living for, whatever. Look at that rainbow. And just very, very kind of poetic, but also very saccharine in that it's like, you're saying all this nice stuff in the context of this monstrous world.
Right. But he has kind of the right to say it because
he does, because he's gone through it.
He's literally like, there are people that were like, oh, he's trash. Like,
right.
Like he literally says he was left for dead.
Yeah.
And I would imagine the system would be like, he'll work his way out.
Yeah.
Like,
whatever.
Yeah. Like,
And the whole reason he like ends up on this walk, because what else has he got? Right. Because what's the alternative for him? There's nothing left.
Yeah. He could win, or he was going to die anyways.
Right. Exactly.
And he's going to die anyways. Like,
yeah.
So I think he gives that classic allegory of like the only thing that's certain like in life is like that we're all going to die.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. So like I am a testament to that life is worth it.
Yeah.
Because even having been left for dead,
right,
I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I'm still going. And so
and
that was an interesting like juxtaposition of like the anger from earlier, where you're like, oh, okay, like, oof.
Yeah.
Like, that's
and
rough.
it's such an interesting play on the two different kinds of stories that they had. Because, like Ray did have a family, and he did have like what presumably was a nice, as normal as possible childhood,
right,
or whatever. But then that got ripped away from him also.
Right.
So really, like, you can't really, it's not... It's not really like
neither.
It's not really a trauma Olympics, right? They're not like winning. Nobody's winning here.
Right.
Like everybody, and it just
nobody has it better,
right? And nobody has it worse.
Yeah.
But then that's where they kind of diverged in the path of like Ray wants that vengeance. He does let that anger kind of come over him. He's very methodical in trying to think of how to get that vengeance. Whereas Pete is like, all of the bad shit has happened to me already. So I'm just looking for...
How much more worse
can
it get?
Like, I'm just looking for the good stuff now because all the bad stuff has already happened.
Right.
So in that context, I thought it was like an interesting like little speech that he does of like, you should stop being angry. And you should stop...
I think what he kind of gets at is, though, that anger should not be your driving force.
Right.
Like, to continue this walk, anger should not be the thing that drives it.
Yeah.
It should be like something more positive.
Hope or
just being human and being able to have that.
Totally.
And then that's when they really, really bond, because he's like, I can give you that.
Yeah.
Like, you are my brother.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And that was a really touching
moment. It was terrifically acted.
I was completely lost in those two, like in that speech.
I mean, incredible, like kind of play between the two of them.
Yeah.
As far as that went.
I mean, it damn near brought me to tears, because I was just like there are few conversations, and hopefully we've all found friends and partners like you and I, where like, I mean, I will do anything for you. And I don't know, there's something to be said about like, you won't have a lot of those in life, right? And even people that you call friends, there are people that you consider your best friends because you know that you will do whatever, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like fighting somebody, like fist fighting somebody, because they're talking, well, not that they're just talking shit, but that they are actually like
a genuine threat.
A genuine threat. Like, I will fight people for certain people in my life, because not because I want to fight, but it's because
you have to sometimes.
Well, and I think their friendship and their importance to me is that important. I don't want to see them get hurt.
Yeah.
And I would rather harm somebody else to make sure that they are not in the way of like somebody else's, like just desire to want to be a person, because of how they want to be. And I don't know, when that sequence kind of happened, I was just like, man, and the Vietnam thing really like now like sticks so much more. And now that I'm thinking about it as I'm saying all this stuff, like it really does make me think of my dad.
Yeah.
Because, whether they said those things directly, I don't know, and I don't need to know. Whatever happened there is personal and between them during that time period. But I can only imagine in whatever form that it took, like there must have been some of that,
Oh, totally.
Whether the words were actually said or just through the
actions of being with your brothers.
There's a reason why my dad like calls up those people and we, it's like, we're going to see my buddy, and we met their family and it was great. And, I think highly of those people, and
it was the kind of people, right? Like similar to the movie where they were put in a situation that they had nothing to do with, that probably like they wouldn't have signed up for willingly.
Yep.
Like, well, because why would you?
Right.
And then they were able to come out of it. Friends saw the best in each other despite all of that, just horrible shit, and was still able to make, to be absolutely cheesy about it, to make something beautiful out of it, because now they're friends and they know each other for life.
But it's the sacrifice that you will make for those people,
right?
That, like, and I know, again, like, not having experienced it myself, but if people became friends with people that they lost in war, like I couldn't begin to imagine. It's different than like having lost some of my friends through just, natural causes or other reasons. Like it hurts, but when it's taken away, when it shouldn't have been taken away,
right?
And maybe a sacrifice of getting in the way of that to make sure that those people had more.
Yeah.
Like this movie is incredible from that standpoint. Like I said, the concept of camaraderie and like brotherhood, only in the sense, not just because they're men, but brotherhood in the sense of like what you have probably experienced in the kitchen with people, right? Like, it's not exactly the same, but
no, but yeah, you're right. In the sense of like, you have this bond because you were in it together, and
there was a goal,
and there was a goal, and you get to that goal, and it feels amazing. Or you all failed together,
right?
And that sucked, but you did it together,
each other, right?
Right,
and you sacrificed for each other, even
and
in the worst times.
It totally becomes this bond of like, now I know what you can do, and now you know what I can do, and we can do it for each other,
right?
In the sense of like, it's something as trivial as something like the kitchen.
Right.
But it does form like that certain kind of bond as far as like, I'll help you out. Like if you need anything. Yeah. But at the same time, like we're friends, we're tight right now, right here. But I don't know if I'll ever get a beer with you outside of any other context. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, it's such a fascinating. It's such a, like, I feel like being in the kitchen was a little bit cosplaying, like understanding what it is to be in the military in that context.
Oh yeah, no,
it's a little bit of playing pretend of like how that works.
Right. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to say it's cosplaying, but it's all relative to the human experience, right? Like
right.
It's all relative in the sense of like, that may be one of the tougher things you ever do, right? But
100%.
I mean, we're thankful for that because like you don't have to go serve
exactly
in the military because
to understand what that is. Yeah,
exactly. And I feel like I have done the same in my industry as well too. Of like,
totally,
those are choices that I made, and it's something that I signed up for, and I didn't have to do that. And then those long hours or being in the trenches with my friends and like getting stuff done with a common goal and the things we'll do for each other, like. It's because that's us, not because, and thankfully it was not in the with the backdrop of war or anything like that. But yeah, it's, I don't know, like it was an amazing movie from that standpoint because like I was saying, outside of a sports movie or like a war movie, like this is the first time I can think of in a long time. Funny enough, outside of a movie like Shawshank,
right,
where it's like they're all in prison together, and they form a bond that, and I'm sure there are people who actually have served time in prison together,
absolutely.
And they have the same sort of things, It's it's just part of the human experience, and it's good, but also it can be bad depending on the backdrop of all of it.
I mean,
I think this is an interesting backdrop.
It's like tragic, right? But like when you think of it, it's tragic that it takes that much and to that degree for people to be able to bond in that certain way. Because war, I don't know. I've
terrible.
I've always been a bit of a hippie and like a pacifist, and like war should just not be necessary for anything,
right?
Because it's always the poor and the underprivileged that fight those wars, and it's never the rich billionaire kids that do it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, though, it's more complicated than that, right?
Of course,
we don't have to get into all of that, but I mean, it's
because I'm not taking away from the people who do serve, because there are some people who genuinely serve out of, this feeling of
protection,
patriotism or duty or whatever. Right. And I totally get that.
And there is a place for that. I mean, how it's abused and how it's used is a whole different conversation.
Absolutely. But I just think, like you said, like as far as just being human goes, it's just interesting, the thought experiment of like, we really have to be stripped down to the barest essential of like survival to be able to like understand each other on the most basic level. Because when everything else is tacked on top of that, like societal pressure or jobs or politics, all that stuff, all of a sudden everything else becomes important, like your race or your religion or whatever.
Yeah.
Where like really at the end of the day, nothing, we all die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what does all of that other stuff matter if it all ends the same way anyway? And that's your existential crisis of the day.
Yeah. Which leads us right to what food we're gonna pick for this movie, because it is Film to Table. I think we didn't. I mean, we spoiled a little bit, but we're not going to spoil like basically
like who wins.
Who wins? and I think I was on the edge of my seat of like, how are they going to end this movie?
Yeah,
because
now you're in love with both of the characters.
Yes, both characters are really strong.
Yeah.
And you want everybody to come home.
Totally.
But the reality is
not everybody.
Not everyone gets to come home, and I feel like it's really sad to think about it with the backdrop of Vietnam, where this was written, of like, that's really how unfortunately a lot of people were like, I hope you make it home. And like,
and so many of them didn't.
So many did not. And like, you hope that it was for like a great cause or reason and that it was worth something. And I think the way this movie ends is very, like, it's as realistic, I think, as you could get.
Yeah.
Like, I think, not realistic in the sense of, well, all the choices that are made at the end. Yeah. Like, I was thinking about it as we were leaving. I was like, could they have done that a little differently? Could we have taken another 20 more minutes of this or that? It's like, no, you know what? What was done was what I think the human person who like comes from the places that we talked about, right? Is like, we have I'm just going to say it. I feel like people that have, like you and I think a lot of people that are friends and people around us maybe have experienced life more than some people who come from privilege, because the only way you can experience life is really to like go through it in the ups and the downs.
Yeah. Because
you have to be able to weigh what anything is worth. And you would hope that all of it is worth something. And when you see what like the worst of the things can be, then you know it's worth it, because you know that you can be better than that, and you don't want that for other people, and you would sacrifice yourself and things that you do to make things better for other people around you and to bring them up to your level as best as you can. And you can't do that for everybody, but you can do it for the people that are around you.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a lot of ways, again, that goes back to the brotherhood of a military experience, but also like you and I we don't have a large group of friends, but the people that we do keep around us, we want to bring them up when they're down because they mean something to us, right? And we don't just collect friends for the sake of just like, oh, look at, we're so popular and we have so many friends. And like, it reminds me of like Catherine Zeta-Jones in High Fidelity where like she seems to be like
so interesting and
like an interesting person, but it turns out she's just false
just
and
full
likes
of shit.
having people around her.
Yeah, she just likes to hear herself talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas like we're not those types of people. Like the people around us, we invest our time into them because we know that having them around us is important.
Yeah.
Because it helps us feel better and having them to bring them up as well too when they're down.
Yeah.
Because they offer something to us and we can offer something to them, and I think our friends mean a lot to us. And I think when you watch this movie, it's like it really had me thinking about like, you know, our friends and the people that we have around us and some of the people that we need to be seen on the regular.
Yeah.
But yeah, so man, I have very little thought on what food we could pair with this. I'm gonna throw one, and then you can think of one, and then I might take it back because I was trying to think. It's like, would I think about this in the context of, would this be something that I would eat if I was on the long walk? Also, I hope I'm not watching them on TV going like, oh, I wonder who's gonna make it, and enjoying like a big juicy steak.
Yeah.
I think that I would start with my favorite snack, which I've been eating a lot of as a recent because of medications that I'm on. But a good Vlasic pickle. Because
the pickle
the sodium.
The pickle store?
Well, yes, the pickles, you know.
From the store?
From the pickles. The pickle store. Well, no, because pickles will help you from cramping.
Sure.
Because of the sodium and the pickle juice.
Okay.
And a big crunchy pickle, and it's cold.
Yeah.
And delicious. And so when you're walking on this 100-mile walk.
You're just carting around a jar of pickles?
Yeah, it's in my backpack.
Okay.
You know? And it's got a little ice thing around it to keep them nice and cool as long as they can stay cool.
Yeah.
But they got to be the big, not the baby dills, because, well, no, actually, you know what? I probably would take the baby dills because that way I could just pop one and then I gotta like ration it. Because if I have a big pickle, then that means I can only eat like a quarter of it. And
you're that one guy that just smells like pickles for like 5 days straight.
But you know, I
do love a good pickle.
Well, I'm sweating and I don't want my muscles to cramp out, so
yeah,
gotta keep my pickles.
What is it? And is it the sodium that keeps you from cramping up? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of lots of sodium, I guess, in pickle juice. Like I remember there was a lot of like I remember when the Cowboys would play football in that old stadium where like the hole in the roof.
Oh yeah.
It's fine. We can just kind of keep going. My computer crashed.
Oops.
But this is still recording. So
gotcha. Okay.
The Cowboys would end up having cramps when they would play because it was so hot. That they would bring jars of pickle juice.
Ew.
And they would put them into the the Gatorade,
the squeezy squirt.
And they would squeeze that to drink pickle juice during the game. Well, but they would do it, and it was ice cold, and it was keeping them from cramping apparently.
That sounds gross.
And what was I gonna say? And now it's like a common thing. Now there's like all these pickle drinks and
the pickleback shots. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, there's like pickle soda.
Yeah, you're right. Sonic? There is. Well, there was this weird viral thing that some lady, she orders her Coke from Sonic, but she asks for like a shot of pickle juice in it or something. Yeah. Is it Dr. Pepper?
I think they actually just put a pickle in it.
No, I know, because that's a thing now, because it became a viral thing.
It's like the worm in the tequila.
I don't know. I don't know what people are fucking doing anymore, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
That's a thing.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to start with pickle.
Okay.
Baby baby
Baby
dill
dill.
pickles. Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
I don't have a whole lot of crazy ideas for this one. I will say I've always kind of wanted to try to make beef jerky, which I think would be a good kind of walking around food for when you're having to walk so far.
And lots of sodium.
Yes, also a lot of sodium. I've always wanted to try to make it. I've heard of how some other people. I'm a little scared to try to do it on my own because I know there's a bit of air curing involved, and you have to leave it sitting around for however many days or weeks or whatever. And that kind of food processing always oogies me out a little bit because I'm afraid of killing anybody with whatever bacteria grows on things. But yeah, that's always something I've wanted to try, is to make a homemade beef jerky, and or like homemade salamis, things like that. I worked at places where there was like, nice charcuterie program. I never really got that far into it, but I've known people that's they do that all the time. It's this huge process of, they break down their own pigs and they do the whole charcuterie treatment. And I think it's fascinating. But again, like I said, I would just be scared of messing up the science behind it and just killing everybody that I feed it to.
I mean, it's that like.
I mean, people have done it for centuries, right? I'm sure it's fine. I'm just a little scared to do it.
That's fair.
There's a little too much science behind it for me to want to really risk it.
Yeah. No, I can see that. The other thing I was thinking, I mean, I don't know if it definitely relates to the movie, but like, oddly enough, this movie's like a road trip movie.
Like the scenery,
the scenery kind of changes over time.
It technically is a road trip.
It is
a trip on the road.
I would be very. I didn't look it up, but
not in a classic way. But
I'd be curious, like where they filmed a lot of this, because like it is actually quite pretty.
I think it said Canada.
Oh, okay, that actually, having been in Canada recently, and when I was taking the Uber from the airport to downtown, or I guess kind of maybe downtown Quebec City, the farmlands on the outside were quite pretty.
Yeah.
And like very, not to derail too much, but just because I meant to tell you this when I came back from my travels, because it's about like a 20-minute drive from the airport, and the airport's tiny. Like the airport's smaller than like Love Field.
Oh.
And it's like I think it's it's international because I flew in from Chicago, but it did make me think of like how I can see why like movies like Red Rooms or these like French extreme movies come out of places like Canada or where the French are, because like it looks very like non-assuming in the country.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, but those people that live in the house are crazy.
Yeah.
And they will like murder and butcher you. And so like, even though it was peaceful, that's immediately what went to my head.
Yeah.
And maybe that has more to say about where our current state of affairs are in the country, but whatever.
Or just how we are as people.
Yeah. Or just how we are as human beings. So with that said, I feel like a kind of like a barbecue chicken sandwich, like with a real like soft bread,
like we get from Buc-ee's.
Yeah, kind of. That's just in a harsh foil, sort of wrapper.
Yeah.
That something that
sitting
you can
under
eat,
a heat lamp.
Yeah, something that you can just kind of eat one-handed on a road trip.
Yeah,
I could see that. I would not do that if I was part of the long walk, because unfortunately we see what can happen if you don't ration food well, and that was disturbing. That was like one of the harder parts of the movie to watch, which I'm honestly kind of surprised they showed that. I thought that would have given the movie like an X rating, or the MPAA would just, heaven forbid we try to like show like what actually would happen in a scenario like this if we put people to their extremes. But yeah, those scenes were hard. But yeah, it kind of had me thinking about like that, like a chicken, like a shredded chicken sandwich barbecue that's just kind of smushed.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's
It's
just
been
under
sitting
a heat
around
lamp.
for a minute. Yeah.
But still good.
Yeah.
Not bad because it's under a heat lamp. But yeah.
I think as far as road trip snacks, I don't know. I'm more of the candy variety when it comes to road trip snacks. I like what are they called? The fruit gushers.
Fruit gushers.
And then,
with the squeezy center or the...
Yeah, a little squishy center.
Yeah.
And then Rice Krispie treats. I don't know where that came from, but I like Rice Krispie treats.
I can see that.
I've made Rice Krispie treats at home, but I've yet to make, I want to try to make marshmallows to make into Rice Krispie treats at some point.
You should, but see, you'd have to make those into little bite size. Like, you can't be a big block of crispy treat. It would have to be like, I don't know, like this, like popcorn size, like where you can road trip it so you have a couple, but then you don't eat the whole thing in one sitting.
Yeah, but then you get all like sticky if you do that. You should have it, I think you should keep it in the bar. That way you can have something wrapped on it and that you can hold it. Because you're just bare-handing it. You're just like...
Well, no, you could perforate it. Like, you can kind of cut it in, like, in squares, but leave it in a square so you can just break off a piece
I guess so.
at a time.
Yeah.
And that way you're not just like... I don't know. To me, it seems an easier way to ration it because if you're just taking a bite of it, then you're going to be like, oh, this is good. And then
just
before
keep
you know
eating.
it, you eat the whole thing.
Nom, nom, nom.
Whereas
I definitely do that.
if you just take like a cube and then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll get another cube in like
Yeah.
10 or 15 miles.
Yeah.
And then you need to get another cube or whatever. Or like after like 3 or 4 songs have played on the radio and you're like, oh, I'll get another cube or whatever.
Because I'm definitely not the kind of healthy snacker type on road trips. You cannot catch me keeping a granola bar or anything like that on hand. I should, but I don't.
It's kind of funny because like you and I, well, I mean, I've definitely made a lot more than you have, but when it comes to road trips, like an 8 hour long road trip or a 16 round trip, which I've done many a time. You really get good at like how to ration snacks and how you go about doing it.
Oh yeah, I can see that. You
Like,
don't want to stop so much.
No, you don't want to stop so much. And, you know, now that I've gotten older, like you're going to stop because, you know,
You have to.
you kind of have to. You just, old man body parts are like time to pee like every like 75 miles or whatever. But, well, yeah, I think that kind of puts a bow on tonight's episode. Like I said, I'm looking forward to a discussion about our top movies of the year because there's still a few more left, and I feel like last year we just had such a buffet of movies.
Yeah, it was just like an embarrassment of riches last year. I feel, especially in the horror field.
Yes, this year I feel like there's
It's
more.
been a little bit. I feel like it's not as broad of a spectrum, but there's been some really huge players this year.
Much like in the movie, as he says, there have been moments like
yes,
where you drive towards these moments and you're like, man, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
And then there's a little bit of a lull, and then it's like, oh man, that was awesome.
Right.
But even in the in between, there, not to say that there was nothing happening, it was just those like moments were really good, and I feel like this one kind of caught me out of left field. I did not expect this much out of this movie, and I was very pleasantly surprised and look forward to watching this again because now there are certain things I want to watch again. I want to pay attention to certain things and certain people and you know how they were on the road or during the long walk. But
pretty high recommend as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely one of the better movies of this
stronger
year.
ones this year.
Yep. Well, I guess if anybody has thoughts on our thoughts, feel free to email us topshelfvideopodcast@gmail.com, or you can leave comments in wherever you get your podcasts, or on Instagram. You can like or follow, leave us feedback. We're always open to hearing what people have to say. Like I said, we enjoy doing this podcast because I think we just like talking about movies, but we also like, you know, how they relate to us and, you know, how movies like this one definitely like opens our eyes to like things that maybe we haven't thought about in a while, or sometimes when we get into these ruts of being angry at the world around us, or you know, just making it through life, like you get a movie like this where it's like, you know, it's not life changing, but it's a real nice like reframing of like, man, that's a good point. Like, these are some good exercises to almost like work the brain a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That it's not all doom and gloom.
And this is why art is so important.
Yeah, and this is why art should not be censored. And this is why
100%.
art should be available to everybody, because you need to hear perspectives from different people always, whether you agree with them or not.
But
you should have that right.
Just to keep an open mind to see it from somebody else's point of view.
Right. Because we all don't live the same lives. Yeah. Like, we all grow up with something different, and nobody, like, nobody has anything better than anybody else. Some people will say they do, but that's only because somebody else is defining that.
Right.
Your riches don't have to be in actual monetary value. Yeah. It could be in the people around you. And this movie definitely made me feel that, and I'm thankful that a piece of art like this was made. So, well, I guess it's time to put away the silverware and all the...
Yeah, a lot of side work to finish.
Yep, and I guess if you want to, feel free to tip your waitstaff, or...
Yep.
Okay, one more time. Let's.
I don't know what
take
you're
two.
doing.
You're supposed to say that to buy the staff a round of drinks.
Oh, we didn't agree to that, but okay.
What are you talking about? We absolutely agreed to that.
Did?
We said that you're the one who actually came up with it.
No, I said you just tip your server.
No, but then you were like, because you've always worked. You're not a server, and you work in the back.
I totally forgot that we.
And you
talked
said
about
like
that.
you can buy a round of drinks for the kitchen. That was the whole thing, because you've always worked in the kitchen.
Talking about that.
All right, one more time.
Okay.
From the top.
Okay. 3,
2, and 1. I'm leaving all this in. I'm not editing this.
You're not. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
And so don't forget to tip your waitstaff, or
buy a round for the kitchen. Who loves you?
Yeah, they very much love you, and I love you. So, I mean you, not the listening audience.
Not the listening. Oh no, we don't.
Unless you're friends.
Oh.
I guess.
Okay.
And depends who you are.
Don't make it weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you too.